Ladies and gentle hands, welcome back to the hardcore world, and today we are in the magnificent area of Fort Fish or Fish Town or the underground village. There's a lot of different names in this area, but I love this area, and a lot of you guys do too, because it is such a unique and cool vibe of just like a part of our world. There's so much like little kind of world building elements here, and I'm really in love with this area, and I think you guys are as well. But I want to work more on the underground city here, because we have this whole area back here that is unfinished, untapped, and it needs some more attention, and I am going to be giving it attention today. So as you could probably tell from the title of this video, we're going to be making a whole black market underground section of our, fishing village here. It makes sense because this is kind of the, the poorer section of the world. There's a lot more maybe crime, and it's just kind of grungy down here in general. So I think we should be able to expand on that and work on a cool black market area where a lot more nefarious and illegal things are being sold in our world. And I think it's a little fun way to maybe incorporate a few farms and maybe a few storage areas for some more niche kind of items that I don't necessarily keep in my storage room. So we have a nice little big dig that we got to do right back here. But before we get really into that, there is something that I want to address, because right now in the Fort Fish area, Fish Town, there is 3 different layers, I guess you could say, to the area. So the first layer we have is the actual fort itself. Fort Fish is kind of surrounding the entire fishing village. And I quite like that name. Fort Fish has got kind of like an alliteration of a Fortnite named location, if you will. And then we also have Fish Town, which I think is just a really fun name. And that's like the whole, market area up here. If we kind of fly up here, you can get a nice little view, but this is like the whole marketplace, kind of the touristy trap area, very European inspired. And then we have the under area, which we worked on the most recent, but there is no name for this underground village, and I think it'd be really cool to give this place a unique name. And I was streaming the other day, and someone in my chat, shout out Connor, came out the name Angler Town, and I think Angler Town, oh, what the heck? Leave me alone. I'm recording. And I think Angler Town is actually a banger name. So I think I want to make a cool little angler rod kind of sticking out over here, have a big old sign, and it says Angler on it. I think that'll be a cool representation of the town name, kind of like a town sign. And it will be in the shape of like an angler rod, because like angler fish have that big old little thing in front of them. It's a rod with a light on it. So we're going to do the same thing. Okay, let's freaking make it real quick. And boom, there is our official signage for Angler Town. I even went on the backside of this sign and I wrote beware on it to kind of just act like a little bit of a warning for the tourists who maybe kind of visit this area and think that, this whole downtown area here is just so cute looking and everything. They idolize it and all that fun stuff. But no, they put the beware sign on the backside of the Angler, just to let everyone know that they are not to be messed with. The residents down here in Angler Town are mean-hearted criminals. Okay, probably not. They're not that bad people. But anyways, I think we should get started on the actual project for today. And the first thing we got to do is start digging out a big old tunnel here. And I need to set up my beacon and all that fun stuff, and then dig out a big old perimeter. Then we'll actually get started on some of the designing of this magnificent black market. So, as always, sit back, relax, and enjoy the digging. Whoa, that's a big salmon. Holy crap. Wait, block for scale? Dude, what? Oh. Okay, I don't think I've ever seen a salmon be that big before. Oh my gosh. All right, enough distractions though. Bloop. But here is our big dig. And you guys might be distracted by one little detail in this whole thing. It's this little mossy cobblestone platform, because there's actually a spider spawner right up here. And I think that might be pretty cool to find some way to implement that into making maybe some sort of mob farm in one of these little black market stalls. But we have cleared out all this area. I've saved up a bunch of the stone, maybe not all of it, but as much as I could. And we have this whole area cleared out, and we need to start designing our main kind of structural support for this whole area here. So using a bunch of the stone that we have already gathered from this dig, I want to start designing our first little basis of a pillar. I want to design it with you guys so you guys kind of understand the theme of that we're kind of going with the whole area here. And I want to build a pillar here, there, and kind of repeat the pattern going along the sides here. I think we'll dig out the river to continue it down right here in the middle. And then on the sides will be big old spruce platforms. And that will be where our little tents and everything are hanging out. And that's where a lot of the black market stalls will be. And I think we'll even kind of dig out some extra tunnels and extra rooms on the side of these. And those can be like maybe storage rooms of some sort, or maybe even like some shops for like the higher tiered black market sellers. I don't know, the people that move more money in and out of this place. Yeah, let's get working on some stone pillar designs, and I'm gonna make a bunch of stone bricks here because that'll be the easiest to do right now. All right, so first we're gonna start out by just kind of building up a basic pillar on both these sides, and I think I need them to be 4 blocks apart. So 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the other pillar goes right there. And we're just gonna build this pillar all the way up to the roof, and probably right about there is fine. Maybe just go 1 more block to be safe. And you know what? I got scaffolding. Let's do some scaffolding today. All right, but now we need to make the arch for this whole area. And I think I want to start with some walls here, and then we're going to do some stairs, kind of make a little bit of a lip here, go back up to the wall. And then I think we'll just do some blocks like here, and let's actually build up again. Sorry, scaffolding, you're a little annoying to use sometimes. And then I could probably get away with doing a stair here to fill in this with some more bricks. Then we'll do some more blocks like this. And I think right here in the middle, these middle 2 blocks, we will do some slabs to kind of smooth out this arch. And if we repeat this on the other side, this should turn out perfectly. All right, how's that all connect up? Ooh, that's a pretty smooth arch. I like that. I think the only thing I want to change on this is I want this part of the slope to be a little bit steeper going down into this area. And I can't quite get away with doing walls here because walls aren't quite, you know, vertical slabs like we would all dream of having in this game. And I don't want to use trapdoors because trapdoors, there's not really any trapdoor variant that quite blends in very well with this. So I think we're going to use some glass panes. So I got to go fly back real quickly and let me go grab some glass panes. And now if we just add in these glass panes on this little block right here, I think it kind of creates a little bit of a better slope on the sides. It's very unnoticeable, you know, very subtle, but I think it kind of creates that dimension a little bit better. Now we have a little bit of a steeper arch, and I'm really liking this design, honestly. So we're going to repeat this arch design a few more times, and I think, is that correct? 4 and 4? Yeah, so we're making this on an even grid, which I think is just a little bit more of a challenge for me because I like challenges. But also, I think the arch just turns out to look a little bit nicer when we have it be on the even, because we get that nice slab slope there, and it's not too steep or too pointy or anything. But now that we have all of this pretty much ready for us to begin working on all of the pillars, we just gotta build those up, maybe kind of connect them too in the middle, like this little 4 grid area here. We're gonna have a big old hole right here, so we need to figure out how to make that all work, and I'll have to kind of just work that out, just getting away with some walls and slabs and all that fun stuff. But now it's time to hop back into another little bit of a montage where we build up all these pillars and maybe even kind of decorate some of the walls, because I don't really want copper ore or coal ore or gravel to be part of our block palette here on the walls. So let me go ahead and get working on all of that. All right, we got all of the pillars installed, and they're looking actually really freaking nice. They're nice and detailed, not too over detailed, which is something that I really try to kind of balance with my builds. And I think it looks fan-freaking-tastic. These just look awesome. I'm really happy with that. I even went through and added in some of these lights kind of stringing along the top of it, just so it wasn't so dark in the roof area. And I think these will kind of act as our main light sources. Right now we have a bunch of these torches all over the floor, so it kind of looks a little bit brighter in here than I think I actually want it to be, because, you know, it's supposed to be like a black market. We're kind of going for the same vibe we have over in this area, where it's pretty much just lit up with lanterns and like maybe some like hidden lighting from like some of the houses and stuff. So we will definitely be getting rid of all of these torches down here on the floor. I've not done any of the wall texturing like I said I was going to do, because I think I'm going to do that at the same time as I do the flows, because I think that'd just be easier for me to handle. Now, there is one thing that I noticed when I was installing these lights, is that they are very dark. You know, this whole area is very dark, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to have a bit of a light leak come through all the way from the surface. Now you can see this is where I have my beacon set up, and this is easily like nearly 100 blocks or so. Like there's so much to dig out here. But I think if we have a light leak come through the middle part right here, and we, have some greenery coming through just for a little bit of color, in this whole area, because a lot of our color is in the foliage down here on the water level, and we're gonna have the water, continue through here, and we're gonna have the same kind of vibe on that. But I think coming through the roof here, just having some vines hanging down, some glowberry vines, some leaves, all that fun stuff, I think that will look really freaking awesome. So we'll add that into between these next two progressions that we'll be doing. But yeah, I got to dig out all of this here, which hopefully shouldn't take too long, but it is a big tunnel, a big drop chute that we will have to incorporate here. But yeah, the next plan of action is to do that, dig out this little tunnel here and throw in some water, and then work on the docks on the side here for all of the market stalls, get all the walls nice and textured, making them look nice and pretty. And then we can start working on more of the finer details and get all the market stalls up and everything. And I think that's going to be the fun of it, because that actually makes it into a black market. All right, without further ado though, let's get texturing. I thought I'd tap in real quick here and say thank you all so much for watching the video so far. And if you're enjoying the video, make sure to get subscribed and maybe even leave a little like down there while you're at it. I would really much appreciate it. It helps push the video out to others, and I'm trying to hit 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. But anyways, I went through the underground village area and actually added in a bunch of mud to the underground water just to give it a little bit more depth and to kind of darken it a little bit, get rid of some of the stone. Then I ended up adding in all of the spruce planks that kind of surround the entire market area, setting up all the floors, got some oak wood, got some spruce wood, even some spruce trapdoors for a little bit of texturing, and then got the walls looking all nice and fancy with some tough bricks, some tough, and a little bit of cracked stone brick as well. And then I fancied up the water leading into the black market, and it looked beautiful. All right, I have gone through the area and I have decorated all of our walls and all of our floors, and they look so much better. I decided to keep these campfires lit for a little bit because they are lighting up the area, but it's getting a little freaking smoky in here, so I think it's time to extinguish a bunch of these. And now it's so much darker. But as you can see, we added in the light leak here, and I think it really helps just light up the whole area. It also adds like this really nice spotlight to the very center here, and I think it's just such a nice vibe. It has a different lighting color as well than the the artificial lights do. I guess I gotta turn off this guy too. There we go. I just really like the vibe of having this open clearing in the middle here. I think it's just like so enchanting with the leaves coming down and everything too. I even did a little bit of glass panes here, green glass panes coming down. Someone suggested that in the stream as well when we were designing this whole place. Of course, if you're interested in ever, catching a live stream, make sure to get subscribed. Thank you. And also one little detail we also did from stream was we added in some of these like emblems into the wall, some engravings. So over here on like the middle sides here, we have a cool little anchor. And then over here on these sides, we have a snake. I feel like it's kind of hard to see. There we go. Flashbang. But this is supposed to be a snake engraving. And then this is the anchor. And we're going to go ahead and like, behind these, we're going to add in a little bit of lighting and a little bit more color, just so they stand out a little bit nicer and they're like a little bit easier to read. But I think I want to go ahead and go through and start adding in a few of the market stalls and maybe actually throw down a few torches, because I just see those spiders over there. And those are bad news. Bad news, spiders. Be gone. Oh, right. Also, on the sides here, we have some imported like little, tunnels here. These will eventually, I'll carve these out, make them nice looking tunnels and all that fun stuff. And we have like this little interesting face thing kind of going on here. These are supposed to be windows to kind of make a little bit more sense for these tunnels. They're gonna be pretty tall, and these are kind of like the roof of them, and I just wanted to add a little window going through, but it kind of looks like Moby from Tim and Moby, which I think is kind of funny. Oh yeah, also I just walked over this, but I added in some of the moss on the floor around the river, and I added in this little specific spot here because this kind of acts like a bridge, even though it doesn't really look like a bridge at all. I think it's a really nice way of just being able to make it really easy to cross from both sides, and even just in general, like jumping across from both sides is very easy and very easy and breezy. All right, but now it's time to actually start working on some of the market stalls here. So I think I want to make a little tent right over here, and we're gonna do just a nice little spruce outline. Nothing like too crazy. Keep it nice and easy, kind of using some basic shapes going along the sides here. And we're gonna use a little bit of item swapper to kind of cheekily access all of these shulkers here so I can build super quick. I just threw in a bunch of blocks I knew I was going to be using. So I think for sure we're going to be using a lot of spruce here, and we're going to make a nice little tarp going down. Maybe we even add in a little back fence right here and kind of continue down the slope. And I think we'll do a little bit of the trapdoors right there, and then we can hang up some lanterns right here. Maybe a soul lantern, and then a regular lantern can kind of hang out right here. Finally light up this area too so I can get rid of that torch. Then I like using lecterns to kind of act like little bit of like, you know, display shelves, although we unfortunately can't actually put anything on these display shelves, but I think that will be a-okay. Let's get these doors, and I want to use doors to kind of act like the walls of the shelf, and then we can even extend it up by a block or two. I gotta go on the other side and place down. There we go. Then we can use a chain to kind of connect up these, and then we can put item frames on top of these chains, and it'll have a really cool effect. I think even back here on this, we could put up some chains to kind of connect up that side. We can even sneak in some item frames behind these lanterns. They don't like really affect anything. And maybe even some hanging signs in the front here would be really cool. Let's do a jungle one right here, angle it a little tiny bit, and then maybe birch and angle it the other way. And then an acacia one, maybe facing the same direction. DS. You know what? Let's make this display shelf back here 1 block longer. I have one more lectern here, so we may as well. And then let's do this, and then the same thing. We do the trap door on top. There we go. And then we can extend out the chains just like that. And I think I brought some oak signs, kind of cover up the texture on the bottom there, because we don't actually want these to be bookshelves or the actual lectern, you know, display shelf is the idea there. And I brought some item frames with me. Let's just throw some on all over the place here. We can do maybe an item frame here and here. And then let's grab some flowers, and we can throw these flowers in the item frames. I kind of want this to feel like it's some sort of nature vendor, if you will, just like plants, like, you know, general crops maybe is a better way to say it. But we also don't have a lot of crops in Minecraft. Mojang, please add more. So we're just going to go through and kind of throw in some crop-esque plants here. So like the peony and the rose bush kind of look like crops, you know, and so does the dry bush there. What else could I add here? Maybe like maybe a wheat. I have to break down this hay bale, unfortunately. Oop, there we go. And then maybe something a little bit more colorful. The cherry sapling could actually be really cool. Boop, boop, boop. There we go. Very nice. And that's a nice little stall there. And then maybe even on the sides here, we can use some of our hay bales and make a nice little stack of hay. And if we go back here, we can actually add in a dirt and till this and throw some wheat seeds on there. And I think I have some bone meal. Yes, some bone meal in here. And we can grow this guy up to a full size, and hopefully, oh, that's perfect. Yeah, I have a resource pack called Fancy Crops, and it makes it so the crops have a little bit extra height sometimes when they're fully grown. And I think that adds a little bit of extra dimension to that you know, haystack right here. Maybe we do the same thing over here with maybe some beets or something. I think I brought some beet seeds that we can throw in right here. Oh, I can't plant these here. Okay, hold on. Exploit time. We plant those now. Grow it up. Farm you. Same thing. Grow it up. And then maybe we just get rid of the torch. I think that will suffice. Oh, I have a red glazed terracotta. Maybe just throw that right there. Maybe it's like kind of a little bit of a dye or something for this shack here, but look at that. I think that's pretty cute. Now I want to add in another spot right here, and then I'll probably want to add in something in the middle here as well. And I think on the sides, you know, kind of filling up some of the space, we could do some like you know, crates, some kind of barrels. All right, then maybe in this spot we do a guy who sells gold. I kind of just thought of that. Gold's kind of like maybe not necessarily illegal, but it is something that people buy to hold their assets, if that makes sense. So I don't know, maybe like a lot of the dealers down here end up buying gold to kind of secure their assets, and you know, they maybe trade in gold, so this guy could be like the kind of converter of gold to cash. All right, now we can start adding in some of the gold here, and I'm just gonna throw in some chains, and then we'll throw some item frames. I think we put like gold nuggets and gold ingots inside there. And then we can add in a gold block over here, and maybe some deep slate gold ore. I don't have any regular gold ore, unfortunately, but we will live with this right here. Perfect. All right, it's very nice. Then lastly, we can just throw in these items right here. Let's throw in some gold nuggets, and then maybe we just throw in a full block on this item frame. And there we go. This guy converts gold for all the dealers down here. It's beautiful. All right, I want to add in some of these like big old supply crate barrels just around the area, or I'm just going to use normal barrels, and I think beehives as well are just a great way of kind of creating, these type of crates. And I can even add on some like ladders to the side. We can do some rails on top to kind of look like straps. Like this thing has been kind of just recently hauled in by, people who come in and sell stuff. All right, I think we have one more spot for a little tent right here, and I think the rest of this area will be pretty well set. And I think I want to make an orange acacia roof on this guy, a little orange tarp. And I'm not sure what this guy will be selling quite yet, but we will figure it out how to build it. Wow, that might be the most detailed tarp I've ever made, but it looks so good. I even went through, added in these little tiny holes kind of sticking through, covered up a little bit of a sign. I think it just adds a little bit of extra shape and kind of dimension, a little bit of wear and tear onto this thing. Very nice. All right, but I think I decided what this guy's going to be selling. He's going to be selling ferns. Some of the devil's fern, if you will. Bam, look at that thing. That turned out actually really cool. I love doing these hanging plants with the ferns and everything. They look so cool. We got some like, variants up here, if you will. I'm really happy with how this is turning out right now. I'm absolutely cooking. Okay, I think I want to do one more stall right here. I think I want to make it really small. Maybe this person's kind of just like a crystal seller, sell some like, freaking amethyst crystals, amethyst clusters and stuff. I mean, that's kind of a cute idea. Let's do some crimson wood for the roof to kind of match that. You know what? I think that will do right there. Look at all that crystal. Perfect for selling. Man, I really hope I don't get demonetized or anything. But we officially have this left side done on our black market, and I think it looks so awesome. I think it's so crowded, full of crates and boxes and just containers of something and another. And I think it looks super cool. And I think I need to work on the other side as well. So I'm trying to get grinding on that. We'll do a nice little time lapse for that, and I'll get back to you guys with the final product. Okay guys, the black market is done, and I think it's looking pretty freaking cool, and I'm quite content with it. All right, so you guys have already seen the left side here. We worked on that on camera together, but the right side is complete alongside my beautiful shulker monster that is slightly cleaned up. I just kind of threw a bunch of stuff in my ender chest, but still have all this junk here. But look, we have about 4 new stalls over here, and I'm really happy with the what they're selling and everything. I think it's pretty unique. So this first guy, we got selling some exotic woods. We got like warped wood, some crimson wood, some mangrove, and a little bit of cherry too. I wanted to like include all of the crazy woods over here. And we even got like a few saplings kind of hanging up on the chains right here, and some item frames showing off some of the planks, and a stick right there too. And I think this one's pretty freaking cool. Some more barrels. I threw in some chests as well, just to add a little bit more variety. And I think this one is my favorite. It's a little painting shop, and then there's a little what is this called? Frick, it's a canvas, right? But there's a proper name for this, a freaking thing that holds painting stand. No, easel. Oh my god, easel. That's the name I'm looking for. Easel. Jeez. Yeah, I really like this easel design I did. I just threw in a armor stand on the behind of some trap doors, and if you guys are curious how I did this, I did a piston pushing in to I flipped this trapdoor up, and then I had another trapdoor on the other side. So it would just perfectly line up with the edge of the trapdoor there, and I think it makes a great easel design. Throw in some other paintings here, even got a custom painting. Shout out to the person who made this one. I can't quite remember. It's in the art museum. Then over here we have like a potion brewer. We have some, netherwort growing on the side, a bunch of brewing stands, some potion ingredients. Even threw in a little bit of coral just to look a little funky, some alchemy kind of stuff. Also, did you guys know you can put the warped, what is this called? The warped roots inside flower pots? I had no idea. I just tried it because I was really curious, and I think that is so cool. That's definitely one of the more unique things you can put inside flower pots. I hope they expand what you can put in flower pots at one day. in my Minecraft career. But I'm very, very content with this whole little stand right here. Use another mangrove roof as well. And then over here we have a sugar cellar, if you know what I mean. Also some bamboo back here that's supposed to be growing, but is not grown at all. And I'm thinking it might be because of the light levels, but let's just add some, maybe a torch or two over there. Do I have anything that lights? Maybe the soul lantern is enough. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe that will help just make those start growing a little bit. But yeah, we have sugarcane over here. It's a sugarcane on the table and hung up everywhere. I don't know. I thought sugar kind of meshed with the whole idea of a fern cellar, and I think a sugar cellar makes some sense here. We could also, like, you know, eventually, I think it would be really cool to set up some farms down here inside of Mr. Moby. You know, when we make some more tunnels out here for more of the higher end stuff, we can actually set up some cool farms. Maybe we even correlate some of them with what we have going on in here. So, like, a fern farm is actually quite possible because you can just bone meal ferns to get the double tall fern, harvest the double tall fern, and you get, you know, double the amount of ferns. So you can make a fern farm, you know, in the game. I actually already have a fern farm over by the mushroom, but you know, I don't really care for that location. So maybe we move that over here inside one of these hallways. We can do other farms as well. Maybe we set up some sort of automatic potion brewer in the future. There's a lot of potential with this downtown area here, this black market, and I definitely want to revisit this area because I'm really liking the vibe down here, the messiness, just, you know, just everything going on here. We can even maybe even, you know, try to set up some sort of amethyst geode farm. Even though I don't really use amethyst at all, it would just be nice to have it, you know? Maybe even glow ink farm or even like an ink sac farm. I don't even know. There's a lot of potential with this area, and I think it'd be really cool to set up a bunch of farms down here and have an excuse to revisit this area every so often. Now, one last thing that we also added, and I forgot to include it in the montage, is the engravings here. We finished those up and we got some color behind there, a little bit of light coming through as well, using some honey blocks to be like our translucent block. And I'm very happy with like the anchor design here that we made up with on stream. Very content with that, and I think the little honey spots there really help with the lighting in the area. We also have the snake design, which is a little bit harder to kind of comprehend, but I really like the lights here. We use the copper bulbs and it kind of look like little eyeballs because they line up really well with the stair texture. So I think that's pretty awesome. Yeah, we have a few little green spots back there kind of snaking through. I think I forgot a green block right there, but yeah, that's the idea. The snake is kind of like maybe the emblem of this underground black market, or the anchor, one of the two, maybe both. But overall, I'm super happy with how this has turned out. I think the vibe is immaculate, and maybe in the future we can come through and do some more detailing and stuff. I think I definitely want to eventually come through, maybe do a nice little coat of paint on some of the arches here, add some more texturing with some like tough bricks, or maybe regular tough, or maybe some mossy bricks and stuff. I did a little bit of it around the greenery right here, but I definitely think another coat of paint would really help with this area. I initially did do a coat of paint of some, you know, texturing and everything, but it looked a little too messy, and it just felt like, it just felt wrong. So I need to do another pass through on that, but I don't really have enough time for that, unfortunately. All right, guys, that's going to do it for today's episode. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Make sure to join as a channel member if you want to join the prestigious list of the members on the left side of your screen. Thank you all so much for supporting. I really do appreciate it. And I'll see you guys all next week. Bye.